Evening and welcome back to this humble abode of mine for tonight's live from Shed 4. I do hope there's some of you out there. I know that the kind of pubs have opened again and live music from here on in is going to be competing with the hospitality industry for numbers. That's okay, but just remember that gigs are likely to be the last thing that gets opened back up to us, and it's going to be increasingly harder as the weeks drag on to get people to support things like this. And I do appreciate that, and I do massively respect and appreciate you coming along and giving me your time on a Saturday night. This is a little bit quicker than I'd anticipated doing another full-length show in the shed, but for good reason. I got the call from Ullen District Trades Council that there was a few trade union members down in the city really struggling to make ends meet during lockdown, and could we do something about it. And so this show was arranged quite hastily and just on the back of the Never Be Defeated show a couple of weeks ago for that reason. So you'll see in the thread above the GoFundMe page for tonight's gig, all that money will be going to help trade union members in Hull, and whatever's left will be going to help establish our new Unity shop in the city, which is something that we're wanting to get active with right in the heart of our communities. I'll explain a little bit more about that as we go on tonight, but needless to say, that will be part food bank, part outreach and part one-stop shop for your needs in the heart of the community and the new financial realities that are about to dawn on us post COVID-19. We want to get ahead of the future and try and ward off some of the nastiness that's coming by being on the ground already. So that's what it's all about tonight, raising funds for that, singing a few songs, bit of togetherness, bit of solidarity, few songs, few stories, the odd rant chucked in, and you know the drill by now, standard fare, innit? I'm going to start with Pauline's song, and I want to dedicate it to Big Sis because I know she had an horrendous day yesterday, and I know if you're out there, Pauline, tuned in already, you could have done nothing more than you did Big Sis, and nobody could, and love and respect to you. The rest of you know this song. It's called One Life at a Time. I know she can't hear you, but I know she'd appreciate the gesture of knowing that you were singing along at home. So if you could comment on the thread, a bit of solidarity for Pauline, that'd be ace, because I know she'd love it. Okay, thanks guys. Summer waiting for the spark of fire up there. She rolls up her sleeves and says, let's make a start. She says that poverty's a punishment that has no crime, and if I have to, I will save the world one life at a time. One life at a time, one life at a time. If I have to, I will save the world one life at a time. That's right. She said a lot of good people gonna die out there, and all the feed the greed of them who never care. And yeah, down it I might well look like it's a mountain to climb, but if I have to, I will save the world one life at a time. One life at a time, one life at a time. If I have to, I will save the world one life at a time. One life at a time, one life at a time. If I have to, I will save the world one life at a time. That's right. She said I just can't bear to see good people going without, and have every right to stand and fight, to scream and to shout. You see, the first to justify it is the last to care, and I may not have done much, but what I got I will share. And with that she disappeared out there into the dark, to spread the love she's got inside a big heart. And remember, if your mountain seems too steep to climb, you can always try to save the world one life at a time. One life at a time, one life at a time. If I have to, I will save the world one life at a time. One life at a time, one life at a time. If I have to, I will save the world one life at a time. If I have to, I will save the world one life at a time. Right then, now that we've got that established, so some of what I'm about to say tonight might be contentious to some of you, but it's an important thing to say to bridge or attempt to bridge the gap between two seemingly irrevocable sides. But I'm going to attempt to, and to do that, you know, you need to hold a mirror up to it. And so some of what I'm ranting about might upset you, and for that I make no apologies, because it needs saying and tough shit. No, I'll do it in a friendly way, you know me. Right, I'm going to sing this song. This is for Bill, but it's also for Chip and for Nadia down in London. And it's a song about the increasing amounts of working class anger that I could see. It was 10 years ago now that was rising up, and it was kicking and lashing out, and it didn't have anywhere to go. I was kind of hoping it was going to turn into a left-wing revolutionary anger, and it didn't, because the left didn't offer it an outlet. I'm going to touch on more of that later on, but this is called Ain't Gonna Be a Pawn No More. I'm back down at the barricades, got the orange banners and the flags on fire. Strike out down the road to freedom and get a word out around the world. I'm gonna shout it out from the highest mountain. Just remember what my voice is for. I ain't gonna take the fall for no one. Ain't gonna be a pawn no more. No. I'm a simple man, I got a simple problem. I've been taken for a low-down fool. They got me with their mathematics, but then I never went to public school. Taking 3 from 2, you're making someone lose out. Don't you come a knocking on my door. I ain't gonna take the fall for no one. Ain't gonna be a pawn no more. This land is my land. Seen it raped by the men of Mainz. They still got money in their Savile Row suits. Ain't got a penny in my old blue jeans. When you get in debt, you gotta pay your way out. They get in debt, I gotta pay some more. I ain't gonna take the fall for no one. Ain't gonna be a pawn no more. Shouting out from the highest mountain, and just remember what your voice is for. I ain't gonna take the fall for no one. Ain't gonna be a pawn no more. Right. It's quite tough going back over like a decade's worth of songs and thinking, you know, how the hell does that go? But I didn't want to just repeat the request show that I did at the start of lockdown, you know, live from Shed 1. I wanted to try and keep it fresh. So the songs I'm singing tonight, I think there's only 4 that I played at that first show, and that was one of them. And so, you know, the rest of it, hopefully it'll keep you entertained. There's songs and stories from the last 8 years, and this is one of them. It's initially a true story, but like all true stories, it has a little bit of songwriter's magic just sprinkled over the top of it. But the essence of this did happen, and so, you know, don't say that's your solo, lying bastard. Don't say anything like that. No. This is a song about hard luck and hard work, redundancy and redemption. But most of all, it's a song about a red 1983 Ford Fiesta. Don't know why I bought her, and I don't suppose you'd understand. I just figured that the way things were, I'd have a lot of spare time on my hands. And she reminded me of something that me dad once said, and I believe it's true. There ain't nothing in this world, son, an honest working man can't do. No. See, I was laid off on a Friday, and about all I could afford was a red and rusty relic of the ghost of an 83 Ford. Thought I'd get most of what I needed, scrap and give her a little TLC. And I'd head Lenny down to Laces and maybe sign off on an MOT. But when I showed her feeling Jonesy, well, he laughed and said, you're on your own. But I swear I'll take her out on Main Street with the sun a-gleaming off of that chrome. Yeah! See, I was laid off on a Friday, and about all I could afford was a red and rusty relic of the ghost of an 83 Ford. Well, I fixed the radiator Friday, I fast light. I was bashing out the bonnet on a Saturday night. Tried to turn her over, put my foot to the floor, and out there in the dark I heard an engine roar. When I rolled her up to Jonesy, well, I swear he could barely speak. Yeah, Lenny loves her so much that I'm starting work for him next week. I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that some days, well, the road is rough. But don't let anybody tell you that what you got it ain't enough. See, I was laid off on a Friday, and about all I could afford was a red and rusty relic of the ghost of an 83. Laid off on a Friday, and about all I could afford was a red and rusty relic of the ghost of an 83 Ford. It's a long time since my fingers had to do something that complicated. Right. That serves me right for showing off that. Right. Maybe it is that sort of like that jazz element that's coming across my music. I'll just keep playing bum notes all night and pretend they're normal. You know, that's the way it is. Nice. No, in fairness, that was a genuine mess up. It's a little slidey thing and a little sweaty hand, not easy to do. I know Richard Thompson makes it look easy, but then, you know, let's be honest, I'm not Richard Thompson. Yeah. Right, anyway. This song is going out to my brothers and sisters and comrades and friends up in Glasgow, especially to those in the refugees and asylum seekers community, for the events of the last few days have been truly horrific, and my heart's going out to absolutely every single one of you. But please don't ever think people aren't there for you. I know that everybody involved in Love Glasgow Hate Racism in the Scottish Refugee Council will always have your back, so please do not despair. We will get through this, and you know, keep on keeping on. This is called JFK. Can you hear the sound of voices out there in the street? That sound of singing's how you rise up when you're in defeat, yeah. And hope's a stranger who would raise their voice for me as I land in the land of the free. And he's singing no hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. No hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. Can you hear the sound of Chiron's peeping in support of 11 people held as captive in this cold airport, yeah. And hope's a stranger who would creep there on for me as I land in the land of the free. And he's singing no hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. No hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. And hope's a stranger who would raise their voice for me as I land in the land of the free. And he's singing no hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. No hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. No hate, no fear, refugees are welcome here. welcome here. Okay, this is a song that I wrote not long after lockdown kicked in. It's not about lockdown. It's just that's when I happened to write it. I'm kind of probably like a lot of people out there struggling a little bit with the old mental health of this. I mean, I've been out doing my job, as you know, and it's quite hard to explain. I mean, I'm not driving around panicking, you know, oh my God, oh, I might get COVID here, I might get COVID there. I'm not doing out like that, you know. I'm fairly philosophical about it, but underneath, subliminally, there's a narrative going on, you know. You have to have your PPE at every call, and you have to make sure that the customer's safe, and you have to make sure the surfaces are clean, and then you have to move on to the next one, and in between times make sure your van's clean, and so you're not transferring stuff all over. And so always at the back of your mind, especially when you've got kids and a wife who's on the sort of the at-risk list, it's quite a burden to carry around with you, and you don't realise. And so I've noticed one or two cracks in my otherwise unflappable demeanour this last week or two, and it's tough. And I know that plenty of you out there will probably feel the same with that. Gauging your own mental health and your own ability to cope, it's often a mystery to all of us, and we do our best, and sometimes it surprises us, and sometimes it's creeping up on us and we can ward it off. But ultimately, I just hope that you're all getting your way through it. I know that nights like this help me, because they're a cathartic thing, you know, like that shout therapy that was a big thing in the 70s and the 80s. That Tears for Fears had that song, didn't they? Shout, shout, let it all out. That's a bit like what gigs are like for me. And although, you know, it's not a screamy, shouty affair, something like this, it does help. So, you know. Anyway, I digress. That song I was talking about, it's about it's knowing your limitations, I guess, but not seeing that as a negative thing, not looking at the world out there and thinking that things aren't possible, but looking at the tools in front of you and working out what is possible. And that's what me and the We Shall Overcome team have tried to do through lockdown, and that's what it's all about, really. Not worrying about what can't be done, working out what can. And this song is kind of about that. Yeah. I knew a man, he taught me how to fight. Lead with my left and hit him with my right. He said my back was better than my bite. Now listen, yeah. He said you'll never take 'em pound for pound. Try that and son, you'll end up on the ground. Keep out there reaching till you've worn 'em down. Now listen, yeah. He told me sometimes a winning isn't winning, not a winning is dealing with defeat, yeah. He said you choose to be a loser, and a loser is beaten when they're beat, yeah. It isn't how you fall, it's how you learn. And someday soon you're gonna understand. Until that day I'll teach you all I can. But soon it isn't how you fall, it's how you land. It isn't how you fall, it's how you land. I took the bell when I took the blows. They blacked my eyes and they broke my nose. I never had the rhythm in my toes, but I listened, yeah. I shook his hand the day I walked away. He taught me all I I'm singing this tonight to him to say that I listen. Yeah. You see now, I went a fire like the fighters that drew my blood and pulled me on the floor. No, I never made it in the ring, but I could sing and understood a metaphor. Yeah, it isn't how you fall, it's how you learn. And someday soon you're gonna understand. Until that day I'll show you all I can. But soon it isn't how you fall, it's how you land. It isn't how you fall, it's how you land. He told me sometimes the winning isn't winning, or the winning is dealing with defeat. Yeah. He said you choose to be a loser, and a loser is beaten when they beat. Yeah. It isn't how you fall, it's how you learn. And someday soon you're gonna understand. Until that day I'll show you all I can. But soon it isn't how you fall, it's how you land. It isn't how you fall, it's how you land. It isn't how you fall, it's how you land. And amen to that. Right, I'm going to switch over to the uke. The tenor uke, not the baritone one. This is a song that was a request of Kev Titterton. Kev put in, you know, it was apologising for getting greedy, putting in loads of requests. But to be honest with you, Kev, it was brilliant. It was because you were choosing stuff that I wouldn't have dreamt of playing myself. So thank you, because you've really coloured in the set list. So top work. He picked quite a lot of songs off an album I did 8 years ago called Fight the Good Fight Club, and it was a strange record in a way. It never really caught on. It was the one before A Revolution in an Empty Room, which kind of did catch on, but this I wrote primarily on the ukulele over the Christmas of 2011, and this was my Christmas present for 2011. I bought this and had a tinker, and I really enjoyed it, and I wrote an album and a half on it. But yeah, because they're written on the ukulele, they're kind of like understated little songs really, so they're not the ones that people normally call out for, so it's kind of nice to be asked to play them. But this is sort of like a hymn almost, but it's a sweet song, it's a solidarity song, it's very quiet, but it's gone out to you, Kev, and I know the battles that I touched on earlier, you go through them as well, so this is entirely yours, comrade. Hang on in there, brother. Hang on in there, brother. Hang on in there, brother. I'm right here by your side. It's a long, long road to freedom. It's a long, long road to freedom. It's a long, long road to freedom. And I'm right here by your side. So hang on in there, brother. Hang on in there, brother. Hang on in there, brother. I'm right here by your side. We can walk this road together. We can walk this road together. We can walk this road together. 'Cause I'm right here by your side. There's a shining light of hope now. There's a shining light of hope now. There's a shining light of hope now. And I'm right here by your side. So hang on in there, brother. Hang on in there, brother. Hang on in there, brother. I'm right here by your side. I'm right here by your side. I'm right here by your side. Yeah, it's kind of a sweet song, but it's not really one of them big anthemic live things that you can tub thump your way through an half-hour set with. So I kind of forgotten about it, if I'm honest, until you mentioned it, Kev. So thank you, and I hope that did it justice without three-part harmonies, which kind of clutter some of them songs up a little bit and make them hard to do live. Right, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to write a song that, sing a song that at the time I thought would have a really short shelf life, because it was about something very specific, and that is the Queen's Golden Jubilee, or the way it was celebrated anyway. And I rattled it off and banged it out there, expecting it to sort of disappear and become, you know, tomorrow's chip rappers, like sort of topical songs tend to do. But I found that, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, people were still requesting this song, and I think, although that it was very much in that moment, it kind of tells a story of in particular, I suppose, English nationalism. This kind of idea that no matter how bad things are, that you have to worship state and monarchy and flags and statues above all else. Sometimes they're the things that people cling to in a meaningless world. So it's not fair to dismiss them all as racist idiots. People need signposts, they need landmarks, and without knowing the real history, knowing their own history, they just know the establishment's history and they cling to it. You know, that's what fuels an awful lot of certainly petty nationalism. But when it gets darker, that's a different thing entirely. But we'll touch again on that later. But this is called Beneath Your Flags. The person who requests this the most is Graham Gibson, so it's gone out to Graham. I don't know if he's watching or not, but if you are, Graham, this is for you. The box in the corner is still simpering away, but I just can't reconcile those words with what I've seen today. From the bunting in the gutter as we trudged home in the rain, to the girl who said God save the Queen, then asked me for some change. And we're 2 steps from eviction and we're barely scraping through. But that's the world beneath your flags of red and white and blue. Now Mr. Singer's run that shop for 37 years, and his father fought the fascists with the Royal Fusiliers. But the Made in England barcode posse put his windows through, 'cause that's the well beneath your flags of red and white and blue. Now a thief can pick your pocket and a girl can break your heart, but a government can steal your job and tear your world apart. I took that humiliation, now I'm taking this one too. Your wavers are drowned in a sea of red and white and blue. Oh, sure I love my country as the proud land of my birth, but my measure is compassion, not how much a man is worth. So I call the ghost of William Blake, 'cause I know he'll understand why I try to build Jerusalem in this grey, unpleasant land. And until it's fit for heroes, I'm afraid I've work to do to change the world beneath your flags of red and white and blue. Yeah, until it's fit for heroes, I'm afraid I've work to do to change the world beneath your flags of red and white and blue. Okay. So it's kind of it's a fallacy of the right, really, that they have complete ownership of pride in a place, you know. For me, the difference between right and left is, by and large, that on the right, they're quite prepared to take any old shit as long as it's wrapped in a flag, and on the left, we want to build a country and a world that we can actually be proud of. And that's kind of what it comes down to. It's got nothing to do with pride or not loving the land that you're from. It's got everything to do with wanting it to be better for everyone. This is a song that was requested by John Stewart, whose birthday it was this week. So John, happy birthday for 2 or 3 days ago, and thank you so much for your donation to this fund. For those of you who don't know, John Stewart, RMT member and a brilliant comrade, always been supportive of everything I've done, always been supportive of Mayday Festival of Solidarity, and this is for you, John, and for Joe Grint, whose story it tells. This is called England Was That Man on the Train. You must be ever so proud of your country, to beat up a man on a train. Was you happy to roar at those lions who sent yours slaying dragons again? You didn't stop when you'd broken his glasses, all the blood splatter fell down like rain. You must be ever so proud of your country, to beat up a man on a train. But I'll stand with my brothers and sisters, whatever their colour, their class or their creed. I will run to their side in an instant and hold out my hand, and there I see, England is not in your hatred, it's not in the kicks and the punches you win. England needs a new pair of glasses now. England was that man on the train. See, I've given you lots of fair hearing, and I've come to accept that it's true. Ah, yes, England does need defending, but it needs defending from you. And yes, I believe in its freedom of speech that you've been out preaching all day. But it seems that your version of freedom of speech is a freedom to take mine away. So I'll stand with my brothers and sisters, whatever their colour, their class or their creed. I will run to their side in an instant and hold out my hand in their hour of need. You see, England is not in your hatred, it's not in the kicks and the punches you win. England needs a new pair of glasses now. England was that man on the train. Yeah. Okay. This song, it was requested by Pete Yen, and I really couldn't do these nights without Pete and without Matt Hill, who were working away right now behind the scenes, sharing links and making sure everything ticks over kind of nicely. And massive respect to the pair of them. This is a request from Pete, but while I'm doing this I should shout out for Matt Hill. If you didn't see his album launch live stream last weekend, please find it and catch up. It's on the Matt Hill Songwriter page, the music page. It's kind of a lesson in how you do this thing. Lighting perfect, sound perfect, patter brilliant, this kind of split screen thing going on with the characters of the stories he was telling. Absolutely brilliant, you know, absolute textbook live streaming. Watch it if you haven't already. You won't regret it. Okay, this is a song I sang 2 weeks ago at the Never Be Defeated one, so apologies that these last two seem kind of familiar to you if you've been following these live streams, but a request is a request, and a request from Pete is kind of double that, so I'm going to sing it anyway. It's called Your Honour I Swear. It's about the treadmill kangaroo courts overrun with miners arrested on picket lines during 1984. Your Honour I swear, Your Honour I swear, that I'll never picket again. My word is as good as your policeman's there, and I'm an honourable man like this then. When the union they ask if I'm in, no I'll say, I won't climb in a car at the break of the day. You won't catch me near pits down Nottingham way, 'cause I'll never picket again. Your Honour I swear, Your Honour I swear, that I'll never picket again. Oh, I'm a changed man now, I promise you, sir. And there's two things I've learned in me, son. When defending my job, it's your peace that I breach. And then there's that lesson a truncheon can teach. That's to move fast enough to stay out of its reach. Oh, I'll never pick it again. Your Honour, I swear, Your Honour, I swear that I'll never pick it again. My word is as good as that policeman's there, and I'm an honourable man like this end. But it's the rich who inherit the earth, not the meek. You get laid off in life, turning the other cheek. Yeah, and just like I said when I stood here last week, I'll never pick it again. Right, I do enjoy that song, thanks Pete. Like, this is a song that started the whole ball game with the miners' strike songs, and with the Hatfield Brigade, because it was writing this song that made Tony put my name forward for the gig where I met the Hatfield Brigade. And it was the first real miners' strike song I wrote. It's as much about those communities, because I've been doing work in those communities around 2014, so particularly the Durham coalfields as well. And it was about the villages and the attitudes I was running into while I was working up there. And it's an eye-opening place if you don't know the former pit villages of County Durham, and you're somebody who thinks that anybody who's working class who voted Leave is a thick racist idiot. I would tell you, and I think it'd be great for you to actually step into Durham pit villages, not on anything other than a learning exercise to see just what neoliberalism has done to the post-industrial heartlands of this country, because it really does colour it in for you. The desolation and the anger and the lack of support and the lack of political representation has created a vacuum. And what you've also got to remember is that those people, when they were miners, belonged to the biggest, baddest, most militant trade union this country's ever seen. And so they know their politics. So, you know, be warned. Right, anyway, this song is called Never Forgotten and Never Forgiven. It's about the impact of the miners' strike on those communities. And yeah, and that's it. At the age of 15, I walked out of the schoolyard and in through the colliery gates. And I followed my dad and his dad before him, a miner like calling me mate. It was just what you did if you come from this town, son. Sort of bend in your soul. Some men are born who have money and power, but me, I was born to mine coal. Never forgotten and never forgiven. The skies from what they did and faded with time. Never forgotten and never forgiven. The memories run deep as the mine. Don't get me wrong, the craft they were at, son, it went for the faint of heart. And every morning thinking. It's not said out loud 'cause we're men, but each man inside is silently praying that he'll see the daylight again. Never forgotten, never forgiven. The skies from one day did and faded with time. Never forgotten and never forgiven. The memories run deep as a mine. It's been 35 years since the last whistle sounded and they locked the colliery gates. They shut down this town when the big wheels stopped turning and abandoned us all to our fates. The kids grow up knowing there's nothing for them here. It's the army or a life on the dole. But they know you never trust Tories or coppers, 'cause their hearts are as black as the coal. Never forgotten and never forgiven. The skies from one faded and faded with time. Never forgotten and never forgiven. The memories run deep as a mine. Yeah, the memories run deep as a mine. See, I kind of, there's a story that goes with this. When I first wrote that song, it was in the pre-We Shall Overcome days, so I still had time on my hands, and I was poddling about Facebook doing my normal thing when I got that bloop, you know, when a little chat box appears at the bottom of your page, and it was a name I didn't recognise, but you know, because I had time on my hands, I clicked on it, interested to see what it might say. And what it said was, why do you only ever write songs about the past? Why don't you write about what's going on now? So I thought, well, you know, it's a decent enough question and I'll answer it. So I started typing, you know. I typed, I am writing about what's going on now. I've chosen the bits of the past that I'm writing about very carefully in order to hold up a mirror to current events to suggest to you that some of this stuff might have gone on before. Because believe it or not, I've actually thought about this. And I pressed you know, enter, and it sent. And I thought, you know, it's fair enough. It had a little bit of a barb in it, maybe a bit mean-spirited towards the end, but, you know, the general purpose of it was that I was explaining myself in cold and rational terms, perhaps, but the central narrative to what I was saying was correct. Anyway, a few seconds later, bloop, there we go again. Little box at the bottom of the screen. Clicked on it. That doesn't make any sense, he said. So, I typed back, yes it does. And he typed back, No, it doesn't. This could have gone on perhaps most of the night, but I decided that enough was enough. I was actually going to spell this out. So, you know, I took a swig of coffee, flexed my fingers, and began typing. And I said, you know, lots of people think that history is like a linear narrative with like events that pop up along it. Where in actual fact, history is like a series of interlocking things, often cyclical, but certainly in a patchwork. Everything is attached to everything else by some means. And as you look back through history, there are eras and epochs which aren't really that, but we've defined them as that. And if you actually look back on ours, you would see that ours was defined by an ideology too. It's just one that's invisible to most people, and it's called neoliberalism. And what happened to the miners in '84 and the healthcare workers and the dockers and steel workers before them, and all the way through the 1980s with the industrial genocide, and the 1990s with the continued privatisation of stuff. It's all part of this constant rolling narrative of neoliberalism, and that's namely the stripping down and selling off of all publicly owned assets for private gain. And what I'm trying to do is highlight the fact that what we're going through now began back then. And if we can't use history to recognise this pattern, then we're always going to be fools, and we're never ever going to learn enough toward the next thing off at the pass. We're always going to be reactionary victims of our own lack of intelligence, you know. So I got to the bottom of that, possibly a little bit more wordy than that, because to be honest with you, I'm busking it now because it's live and I'm a bit nervous. So I press send, right, thinking, you know, probably done me thing there. So I took a swig of now cold coffee and popped it down just in time to hear the bloop and his return message, which I opened to see read, "Fuck off, your song's shit anyway." At which point I fully understood, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, and all points in between, the true nature of why they call this the struggle. But at the heart of that is a serious message, you know, because this stuff, this ideology that we're living through, we can't see it, we're invisible to it, and we lack ideology of our own. When Thatcher destroyed the trade union movement as an active, revolutionary force, which she did by destroying the NUM, what she did was she took away a vital working class education system whereby we were educated in the history of our class and the ideologies of socialism. And when that was taken away from us, the shop floors went, and the heavy industry went, and the mass manufacturing went, what happened was we lost those educators, those shop stewards, those mass trade union memberships that meant that we understood what was happening to us in ideological terms, and we were able to fight it. And nowadays what you find is that it's not that the working class lack anger, it's not that they lack consciousness, it's that they lack direction, because that ideological link has been taken away from us, and people don't understand what's happening to them in terms of ideology. And they are basically, if we don't supply a narrative to their anger, if we don't make it work for people, it turns into a self-destructive thing, and the only people who will benefit are those who can supply a narrative to that anger, and that, at the moment, I'm afraid, is the right wing, because they recognise that at least parts of the working class are in a semi-revolutionary state, and they are trying to lead it, and we need to get ahead of that. But to answer that working class thick racist thing, we're not thick. We might not understand politics in terms of a Marxist dialectical framework, but we don't need to, because we feel politics. We feel it every day of our working lives when there ain't enough money to put food on the table, or you struggle to keep a roof over your head, or you struggle to extract any ounce of human dignity from your day, when you know that you aren't going to have any quality of retirement because there ain't enough money to save. We feel politics. We understand it as an emotion, as a journey through life that hurts. That's our education in class politics. We might not even all identify as working class anymore, but that doesn't matter, because all that matters is that they still identify us as working class. They still see us as factory fodder. And while that carries on, no matter what you call yourself, you will always be working class. But just to shed a little light on this, and for a positive note, if the working class was racist, Tommy Robinson would have an army of millions marching towards London. The very fact that he doesn't, the very fact that he might have tapped into working class anger, the fact that he can't lead an army of people down there is because, precisely because, the working class is not racist. So that can at least diffuse some of that particular argument that really gets on my tits. Anyway, that was about a 10-minute rant. I really do apologise. There's still people with me. Yeah, there's still people with me, about 20 of you or something like that. But anyway, sing along at home. You're going to need this. You're going to need this song in your hearts. You're going to need the skip in your step as we move forward, because we might have a shitload of divisions, loads of things tearing us apart, loads of forces, loads of ignorance, loads of lack of ideology, and all the things that are working against the movement at the moment. It doesn't matter so long as you think first and talk later. And sometimes you just need a song in your heart like this one. The union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run. There can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. What force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one, and the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. I want to wave from here. What have we got in common with the greedy parasites who will cut your job and welfare and then come back for your rights? What have we left it for those but to organise and fight? And the union makes us strong, yeah. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong, yeah. They divide us by our colour, they divide us by our tongue, they divide us men and women, they divide us old and young. But they cower now before us if they hate this chorus song, 'cause the union makes us strong, yeah. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us stronger. They stole on all them billions that they never worked to earn, and ran off with it, never give us nothing in return. We could stop it all tomorrow if we'd only ever learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed the power power greater than the hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies multiplied 1,000-fold. We could bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, 'cause the union makes us strong. Yeah! Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. For the union makes us strong. The union makes us strong. Every happy time is in a 4-4 time, while hope lies dying in a welfare line. Yeah, big dreams, that's your trouble. Back in line now, boy, stacked on the double as the word comes down from the penthouse suite. Keep the noise down on the burning street. Yeah, they're faced while the city dies screaming. This is the future in your England's dream, and the beat don't stop, 'cause the work don't stop. The work don't stop, so the beat can't stop the groove. The proof is out there, brother. A little home truth wrapped up in another. Get a red flag flying in a million hats. The revolution needs a kickstart now. Yeah, big dreams, that's our trouble. The one that build a new world out of the rubble. Every happy time is in a 4-4 time, where every one of us are on front line. Yeah, rise up and stand together, or take it out, we're taking it now forever. See, the beat don't stop, 'cause the work don't stop. The work don't stop, so the beat can't stop the groove. The proof is out there, brother. A little home truth wrapped up in another. No fight, no struggle. 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 Every happy time is in a 4-4 time, while hope lies dying in a welfare line. Oh. Right. This song was born out of my busking days. It was sort of tells the story of one particular night, I guess. Well, the story I'm about to tell does, but at its heart really is that whole thing. See, I've done this thing, this Joe Solo thing for 18 years, since 2002. Before that I was in a band called Lithium Joe, and we did that for a decade. And I started life out as a singer in a bash 'em out punk band at school, doing covers, which eventually morphed into playing some songs that I'd written. But between that and Lithium Joe, I spent my time hitching about, and wherever I stopped, I sang some songs, and whatever money I made that day, that was what got me through. And it was good fun, you know. I went all over the UK, and then me and my friend Danny, we went to France and to Spain and to Switzerland and to Germany and Belgium and Holland. Ate forage and had busk, and we spent 6 weeks out there, and it was brilliant. It was a great learning thing for other cultures. And what you see is that despite the fact there's a language barrier, working class people are the same everywhere you go. And it was a great time to learn that lesson, being 2021. And I got back and I went on one last hitch around the UK, and that's where this story comes in. See, on one of my last outings, I landed in Lincoln at twilight. Now, for anybody who's wondering what twilight is, that's like a middle class evening. And so, you know, I landed in Lincoln at evening. Stay with me. And I didn't have any money in my pocket, I'd bust in Kings Lynn the day before, and I'd got a lift from Kings Lynn to Lincoln, but Kings Lynn hadn't been happy pickings, so I only had a handful of pounds in my pocket, enough for a couple of beers. So being 20, 21, I did what any self-respecting 20, 21-year-old would do if they didn't have a bed for the night in a strange town, and that was I sat in the corner of a pub and fluttered my eyelashes a lot, which is precisely why I ended up sleeping under a bridge by the river. Now, there I was, wrapped up in my sleeping bag, with my guitar behind me, tied to my foot by a piece of rope, because you don't want your guitar getting nicked in the middle of the night. Anybody who slept rough will know this. Anybody who don't understand that situation, read the first paragraph of Woody Guthrie's Bound for Glory. You'll understand how important a guitar is to an itinerant worker. Anyway, during the course of my, my evening's repose, I received a kicking from 3 Lincoln drunks. Now, I mean, it was okay, I was 20 years old, I liked to drink, I was a gobshite. I'd had plenty of kickings before, and this one, to be honest with you, was dampened slightly by the sleeping bag and the fact that they were really drunk. But during the course of their exertions, one of said Lincoln drunks managed to throw up all over me. Now, this wasn't just any old sick. As sicks go, and plenty of people will be out there tonight learning this, as sicks go, this was top of the evolutionary sick tree. That being, it was made up out of stale beer and freshly eaten garlic bread. Now, some of you just went, I know this, and those of you that had the most are people who've had a stale beer and freshly eaten garlic bread sick, and you'll know that it stinks. It is proper rank. So there I was, covered in blood and sweat, and someone else's stale beer and garlic bread sick. Thankfully, it seemed to bring the 3 Lincoln drunks to their senses, for they stopped kicking me head in and carried on doing what drunks do in Lincoln, and whatever that was. But the reason I'm telling you this story is the next day I had to hitchhike home, covered in blood and sweat, and someone else's stale beer and garlic bread sick. Now, anybody who knows the area will know that the road out of Lincoln towards Hull is the A15. It's an arrow straight length of road, difficult enough to hitchhike up at the best of times, even more difficult when covered in blood and sweat and someone else's stale beer and garlic bread sick, and I ended up walking most of the way home. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story is because after you've spent a day attempting to hitchhike up the A15 while covered in blood and sweat and someone else's stale beer and garlic bread sick, everything else in life is a fucking doddle. Even when they blacked my eyes, and even when they broke my nose, even when they threw coins at me, even when they spat on my clothes, do you really think I'd just surrender? Do you really think it bothers me? You're picking on the wrong man, mister. I don't give up easily. Even though the dice are loaded, even though the fight is fixed, even though you're helping handing, nothing but an iron fist. You really think I'd just surrender? Do you really think it rattles me? Picking on the wrong man, mister. I don't give up easily. See, some of us were frail and falter, we're never meant to fight, and then there's some of us who hit the canvas and never make it up again. But some of us, we roll the punches, and you better keep your guard up, see. You're picking on the wrong man, mister. I don't give up easily. I don't give up easily. Sad to say, every word of that story is true. That was not a good day in Solo World. Right, this is another one of Kev's requests. It's called Fight the Good Fight Club, and it's given the name to something we're setting up in August. We shall overcome are setting up something called Fight the Good Fight Club. There will be a dedicated group to it, and it's going to be like a Wednesday night music club. Between 9 and 10 every week, there'll be a different artist live streaming. People who've supported the movement, and you know, people who we know are going to give you a really good show for an hour. Now, rather than this being for a cause like I do my stuff, it's going to be all about them, because musicians are going to suffer disproportionately because their lockdown is going on longer than most. So for that hour, it's going to be their PayPal me links and their stuff. So we're asking you to give generously to the artists themselves rather than to a cause at Fight the Good Fight Club, because we want to support the people who've spent the last 5 years supporting us. So there'll be more blurb about that coming up very soon. The immediate We Shall Overcome concern is the 25th of July, where Matt Hill and Jess Silk are going to be playing on Defiance Sessions on the evening, a live stream from there, and during the day we're looking at an outdoor live stream from the station beer garden. We're just going through all the sound things and all the things that go with ticking all the boxes for that, but it should be a full sort of We Shall Overcome day on the 25th of July. But look out for that, and look out for the We Shall Overcome Fight the Good Fight Club, which will be around the corner shortly. This song is what give it its name, and there are sort of head songs and heart songs, and I guess this is a head song really. It's just an idea that anybody who thought that the world was going wrong needed to have a place where they could fight back. You can't fight back necessarily as individuals, but you can fight back as a movement. And what we lacked on the left for a long time is a movement we can rally behind. And there are lots of reasons why that is, and lots of reasons why it's let us down by and large. But it is time to change it, and it is time for us to be a little bit more revolutionary in the way that we tackle the political state of this country and the way that we tackle the rise of the far right. We need to be ahead of it, and we need to be all over that. And we're working on it behind the scenes. There'll always be someone to tell you you're wrong, that you don't really know what you got till it's gone. If you know there's a wrong and a right, come and help drag the tide, kicking into the light in the fight, the Good Fight Club now. There'll always be someone afraid of a change, been a slave for so long that they can't see the change. If life's got you tied up so tight that it's daunting your days and it's haunting your nights, join the fight, the Good Fight Club now. Fight the good fight, fight the good fight, yeah. Fight the good fight, fight the good fight, yeah. There'll always be someone to tell you you're wrong, but keep asking the questions and brother, be strong. If you know there's a wrong and a right, come and help drag the tide, kicking into the light and the fight, the Good Fight Club now. If life's got you tied up so tight that it's daunting your days and it's haunting your nights, join the fight, the Good Fight Club fight, the Good Fight Club fight, the Good Fight Club now. Right, this next song, also off that album, and also a request to Kevin's, is it's called Might As Well, and it taps into something that I spoke about earlier, in that it was inspired by a drive through one of the former County Durham pit villages, because everything had shut in this village apart from one shop. And the one shop was basically like a community co-op, really. It was a fight back, a community that hadn't given up. It was right, if we ain't got the sort of the outside industries, the great brands and things, then we're going to have to do this ourselves, otherwise the community dies. And it was, for me, that's defiance in a nutshell, you know. We're not going down without a fight. We have every right to exist in this place. We have every right to exist as people and as a class. And the fact that capitalism won't supply the answers doesn't mean that we can't think of a way through it ourselves. And that's what this song's about. There's echoes of Woody Guthrie in this, which are quite obvious to anybody who knows their Woody. You'll know the line that jumps out at you. They shut down all the shops on Main Street and all the pubs on the strip. The banks deserted all the local branches like rats desert a sinking ship. Someone has to put it back together, and it's up to us now, don't you say? Someone has to put it back together, and it might as well be you and me. The local council's an extortion racket. It's all backhanders and lies. For every mugger in an hooded top, you'll find an over in a shirt and a tie. But someone has to put it back together, and it's up to us now, don't you say? Someone has to put it back together, and it might as well be you and me. They shut the factory 5 years last Friday, and all the work went abroad. They knocked it down and built these luxury houses that no one round here can afford. The money men have upped and left my town now, and all the hope is gone. To them it's only dirty bricks and mortar, but to me it's still where I belong. And someone has to put it back together, and it's up to us now, don't you say? And someone has to put it back together, and it might as well be you and me. It might as well be you and me. Right, I hope you're still with me, guys. I know I rant on and I talk on and I story on and I sing on and I never shut the hell up, but it's kind of fun to have you around. Oh, and please, if you have got a few quid spare, the GoFundMe is raising money for the same fund that my merch is raising money for this week. So any merch you buy between now and midday tomorrow will go into the same pot as the GoFundMe. So if you don't want to put direct in there and you want something for your money, it is all going to the same cause. So please contribute if you can. Right, couple of weekends time, there's going to be a virtual Tolpuddle Martyrs Festival. Now anybody who has been to Tolpuddle, you'll know what I mean, but it is a really great recharge of the batteries. We have them up here with banners held high, and with the Miners Gala, and with a whole bunch of other events that we put on, where we get together as a movement, and we raise those banners, and we talk shop, and we get inspiration from one another, and Tolpuddle's another one of those weekends. And I'm glad to see they've fought back and they've managed to put together a virtual version of it. Won't be the same, but you know, anything that you can do in these times to get your way through it, to think your way through it, and to put it on is a good thing. And if you've never been to Tolpuddle Martyrs Festival, next year get yourself down there. Great fun, great people, and I'm glad to have been asked to do a short set for them in a couple of weeks' time. I'm gonna sing my Tolpuddle Martyrs song because I was on that subject basically. But it tells the whole story. I don't need to introduce you to the Tolpuddle Martyrs. If you don't know the story and you still don't get it after this song, then please feel free to read a fucking book. If you've learned anything from my swearing and ranting, then please feel free to read around the subject. I read all the time because I don't pretend to have anywhere near as many answers as I should have, but it is important that you get that knowledge and that you learn from working class history, because they won't teach you that in schools. We have to learn that for ourselves, and when you do learn it, when you do realise the giants whose shoulders you stand on, it's not only a really empowering thing in terms of wow, but it's also a reason to keep going, because so many people had to do just that before us, including these guys. It took 6 men to change this country, and that should be an inspiration to everyone. Oh yeah, before I start, at the end of every line there is the line we will be free, which comes from a poem written by one of the Tolpuddle Martyrs. So I sing a line, you sing we will be free, and that goes on all the way through the verses, right? So shout it out. Bit of participation won't go amiss. I know I can't hear you singing, but it'd be really fun to read you. You know, yeah, I kind of like that when I catch up with all the messages later on, and you've been singing it in bold capitals. Just keep me amused with some of that. Okay, it's called We Will Be Free, and we will, if we remember not to give up. In 1834, we will be free. There were 6 men from Dorset fell foul of the law. We will be free. See, this war an oath that together did stand. We will be free. For a fair living wage for men working the land. We will be free. Now Judge Baron John Williams, his hammer did fall. We will be free. And them 6 men from Dorset, he damned one and all. We will be free. Transported for 7 long years they would be. We will be free. And he shipped them in bondage far over the sea. We will be free. We will be free. If I stand up for you and you stand up for me, we can fly the flag of liberty. We will be free. Now the workers rose up and they wouldn't back down. We will be free. And they took to the streets of our cities and towns. We will be free. They marched and they rallied, demanding to see. We will be free. Them 6 men from Dorset shipped home again free. We will be free. We will be free. If I stand up for you and you stand up for me, we can fly the flag of liberty. We will be free. Tolpuddle Martyrs to everyone here. We will be free. Don't cower before them, a slave to your fear. We will be free. Take heart from our history and together we'll stand. We will be free. 'Cause if 6 men from Dorset could, anyone can. We will be free. We will be free. If I stand up for you and you stand up for me, we can fly the flag of liberty. We will be free. back into the far distant past. Oh, 2012 anyway. A lot's changed since 2012. But thankfully for me at least, the consistency of my message hasn't. Which, if I can't be proud of the songs I wrote, I can at least be proud of that. This is a song called These Two Hands. It's essentially about the working class, about how we build the country, how we have the real power. We just had it sort of bled out of us. We don't believe it. We always look up. We always think rich and wealthy and famous people are more powerful than we are. We always think life is more important somewhere else. But that's a trick of propaganda. You know, we are no less or more powerful than anyone else, and more so when we stand together, because the one thing that we have that they haven't got is numbers. And sometimes we need to remember when we're casting out divisive messages that it's actually those numbers that will ultimately change things. Ultimately, class is going to be the thing that changes things. You get criticised. It's a Marxist position. Yeah, well, it is and it isn't. It's a common sense position, to be honest with you, because don't get me wrong, all the different versions of identity politics, they matter. I'm not suggesting for a moment they don't, but identity politics, you attack the system as a small interest comparatively, and you might gain a concession as that interest, but you don't actually win anything for your class. All our divisions exist because of the system that we live under, and unless we change the system, none of those other things are actually going to change. So the only way we can change the system is by attacking the system in the thing that gives us the greatest numbers, and the thing that gives us the greatest numbers is class. So there seems very little point in us falling out if the falling out only plays into the hands of the people who cause all these divisions to begin with. Class, it's the one thing that'll win. Trust me. You'll come round to this way of thinking eventually. Anyway, these two hands. From the fire in the furnace to the dark in the mine, to dawn at the dockyard gates, queued up in lines. I could sweat at the foundry or harvest the land. It was me built this nation with these two hands. Now I trawled the oceans, I wove and I spun, I lit the railways, I carried the gun, and I plundered the riches from far foreign lands. It was me built this nation with these two hands, these two hands, these two hands. It was me built this nation with these two hands. Now I paid me taxes, for so I was told. The kid for the helpless, for the young and the old, but they bailed out the whorehouse 'cause the market demands, and left me nowhere care for these two hands, these two hands, these two hands. They left me nowhere care for these two hands. So I queue for me gyro to pay off me loans. I've notes in me pocket and a chill in me bones, and you'll have to explain it, 'cause I don't understand how you rebuild a nation without these two hands, these two hands, these two hands. How do you rebuild a nation without these two hands, these two hands, these two hands? How do you rebuild a nation without these two hands? Yeah. It's a decent enough question, isn't it? Okay. Another little tale from history. One that had its 200th anniversary last year. Is the massacre at Peterloo. And I wrote this song specifically for that. It's actually one of my favourite songs that I do with Rebecca, because I fiddle on This Is Ace, and this is going out to Rebecca and Lee, because I know they've been holed up for longer than most people, because with underlying health conditions, both their lockdowns started before ours, and they're going quietly mad, pretending to plant pea shoots and forgetting to put the seeds in and stuff like that. If you're following Rebecca's lockdown diaries, it is basically an exercise in coming to pieces. It's fantastic, but no, all joking aside, love to you both, and this is called Many a Devil. Last night I dreamed I was ragged and torn. I'd been stripped of all hope since the day I was born. I was faceless and nameless and barely 15. It was the 16th of August of 1819. And in that dream I had no shoes on my feet, stood in St. Peter's Field in the midsummer's heat. There was someone that spoke of a far distant dream. It was the 16th of August of 1819 when I knew St. Peter, a fisherman born, did it take all his faith just to weather the storm. And but it was Christ, and to whom did he pray? There was many a devil, but no God that I fear. Last night I dreamed of a cavalry horse rearing up there before me. The magistrate's paws saw the flash of a blade at a young woman scream. It was the 16th of August of 1819 when I knew St. Peter out 3 times he lied with his own eyes a witness, yet still he denied there was no son of God, just a man to betray. There was many a devil, but no God that I fear. There was many a devil, but no God that I fear. as I sing this last verse, try not to imagine that I've extended this from Peterloo to anywhere near Gaza, will you? Last night I dreamed of a soldier before me. I looked in his eyes and I saw only hate. So I turned to my people, now blooded and broken, and 15 lay dead at the hands of the state. What I knew was St. Peter, he looked down in shame at the blood on this field here, now bearing his name, and when nailed to a cross of his own could he pray. There was many a devil, but no God that I dare. There was many a devil, but no God that I dare. There was many a devil, but no God that I dare. This is Halo, and it's going out to Sean McGowan of the RMT. Sean's not been well of late, but I'm really pleased to know that he's on the mend, and I thank John Stewart for letting me get a message to him. I know this is one of his favourite songs, so it's going out to you, Sean. I met an old man, he said, son, I don't know you, but love is a freak hat trick. Watch and I'll show you how you turn your head when she walks in a room, 'cause she can't see the stars for the halo around the moon. Don't try to hide it and don't look surprised, and no son, don't you lie to me. Stare in your eyes, you're a ship on air rocks in a storm, and you're doomed, 'cause you can't see the stars for the halo around the moon. Halo around the moon, halo around the moon, halo around the moon, halo around the moon. You're kidding yourself if you think you're immune. You just can't see the stars for the halo around the moon. If the ocean is crying, you don't dry your tears. If a mermaid is singing, you cover your ears. Or they'll take you and they'll drown you in their salty perfume. When you can't see the stars, but halo around the moon, halo around the moon, halo around the moon, halo around the moon, halo around the moon. You're kidding yourself if you think you're immune. You just can't see the stars for the halo around the moon. I looked at that old man, I saw that he spoke through the fog of the whiskey, all mirrors and smoke, like some poet who whined about a flower in bloom. with some tired old line about a hill or the moon. I said, I know love and it traps, and you thought that a free man like me would fall in and get caught. Well, he must be the dumbest old man in the world. And I left him right there to go talk to a girl. Halo round the moon, halo round the moon, halo round the moon, halo round the moon. You're kidding yourself if you think you're immune. Just can't see the stars for the halo round the moon, halo round the moon, halo. Just can't see the stars, but it all around the moon. Thanks, guys. I'm closing in on the bottom end of the set list now. A few to go, but thanks for sticking it out with us. I know that the numbers are going to be down now the pubs are open, and I do appreciate you sticking with us. I'm not anticipating, you know, hundreds of thousands of you out there, but if we can keep enough people going that, you know, that can maybe lift a few spirits while we're singing and hopefully raise a few quid for people who really need it, then I'll carry on doing these nights. But it'll be probably 5-6 weeks before I do another one, and it'll probably be Headscarves and Hurricanes when I do that. You know, it'll be another album sesh, and I'll tell the story behind those songs, and that's a fascinating piece of social history as well. So I haven't picked a date for that yet, but I think it'll be sometime towards to probably the end of August or something. But I'll give you all a rest till then. But you know, thank you for sticking with us so far. As I say, I know this is going to end up being a lot of diminishing returns as the well gets switched back on. But thank you for being with us so far from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate it. I suppose this is a song off my new album, but I've never got out there to sing it to you and to sell it and to really get these songs across, because as soon as I got it, lockdown came in. So it feels like an old album now, in my terms. But I'm going to sing the song anyway because I think it's important that we do remember to stick together. That no matter where we take our particular part of the fight, our particular part of the struggle, just remember that all our interlocking paths are going to be important as we move forward, and it's not a time to fall out over the small print of where we are and where you think we should be and where I think you should be. None of that matters. What matters is we keep going and we keep walking down this road, because by and large we're walking together no matter where we are. So it's called That Change Is Still Gonna Come. Though the traitors may all turn against us, and the cowards may cower in fear, we stand on the rubble of hope now, but a red flag is still flying in. So raise up the banners unbeaten, and let's strike up the colliery band, 'cause we had a heart of a spirit they don't understand. It may seem further away now than ever, and the edges to turn and to run. We'll stand tall and stay strong, but the fight it goes on, and that change is still gonna come. Yeah, that change is still gonna come. But those of you knew that it's losing, don't worry, we've been here before. And just 'cause you might lose the battle, it don't mean you can't win the war. From match girls to miners and dockers, from the steelworks right back to the mill, we have a bond here between us that they cannot kill. It may seem further away now than ever, and the edges to turn and to run. But stand tall and stay strong, but a fight it goes on, and that change is still gonna come. Yeah, that change is still gonna come. It may seem further away now than ever, and the edges to turn and to run. But stand tall and stay strong, but a fight it goes on, and that change is still gonna come. Yeah, that change is still gonna come. Okay, we get to the kind of comedy part of the set list, I suppose. Because this song wasn't born in the class struggle, wasn't born in any particular personal trauma. It was just born because the idea amused me one night. It's not a true story, so, you know, don't go imagining that it's a salacious piece of gossip or somewhere out there is an abused woman. I'm not that kind of a guy, you know. But at its heart, this song is the story of trying to get a girl from New York City into bed by pretending that you're dying. The doctors say I'm dying, miss. Doctors say I'm dying, don't you know? And I got a little list of things I wanna do before that old fat lady sings, and I gotta go. I never swam with dolphins in the ocean, and I never sailed away around the world, and I never helped Guy Fawkes with an explosion, and I never kissed a New York City cow. A New York City cow. But then maybe you can help me, miss. Maybe you can help me, ease my lord, and help a poor boy with a dying wish that tomorrow I'll be off on down the road. And I never swooped with swallows in the summer, and I never found an oyster with a pearl, and I I never got to shake hands with Joel Strummer, and I never kissed a New York City gal. A New York City gal. Your mother, well your mother, well she taught you right, and you should just turn me out of here to die. But they said a little tender loving care at night might help me. It's a long shot, but I guess it's worth a try. I never swam with dolphins in the ocean, and I never sailed away around the world. But I never felt emotion like when you kiss a New York City girl. A New York City girl. It's a foolish song. I think it was Brian requested that. If you're listening, Brian, thank you for requesting that. It is a very silly song, but it's quite fun to play. Okay, and this song, carrying on along that kind of comical theme, although this has a slightly more topical subtext, is the story of the night I met the devil. Right, to be fair, it was a little bit of an anticlimax, you know, because I didn't get to meet the devil like Robert Johnson got to meet the devil, you know, at the crossroads where he trades his soul in return for silky skills on the guitar, as the last couple of hours will bear testament to. Nor did I meet the devil down in Georgia and engage myself in one massive fiddling contest, again with the potential to lose my soul but gain a golden violin. No, when I met the devil, me being a kind of like northern kind of working class bloke, when I met the devil, it was in the gents' toilets of a working men's club in Mexborough. To be honest with you, it didn't manifest himself immediately as the devil. He just looked like an old bloke who pissed on his shoes and didn't wash his hands, you know. But it was when he spoke that I knew it was the Dark One. For the words that came out of his mouth after my show were these: "You'll never change now, son. 'Cause way too many people like the world the way it is." He came to me, an old man, said, "All you boys and girls, you waste away your younger years in trying to change the world. If you want to know the truth, boy, the truth of it is this: there's way too many people like the world the way it is. There's way too many people like the world the way it is. She likes the bit that says, he likes the bit that says. You give them just enough to lose until they've something to miss. And there's way too many people like the world the way it is." me, how could you all holier than thou? You know you're gonna lose, so sonny, make some money now, or you'll only end up bitter over this. There's way too many people like the well the way it is. There's way too many people like the well the way it is. She likes the bit that says, he likes the bit that's it. You give them just enough to lose until it's something to miss. And there's way too many people like the well the way it is. See, it's my turn now. You gotta listen good. I said, I know you think I'm beaten, but I promise you I am. See, me granddad always taught me there was no such thing as can't. And the odds might be against me, but I like it like this. There's way too many people like the well the way it is. There's way too many people like the well the way it is. She likes the bit that says, he likes the bit that's it. You give them just enough to lose until they've something to miss. And there's way too many people like the well the way it is. Way too many people like the well the way it is. Way too many people like the well the way it is. Oh dear. Right. We're on to the home straight now. I'm going to sing you 2 more songs and then I'm going to leave you. So thank you so much for supporting me once again, and for contributing to the fund. And as I say, the work we're going to be doing in Hull, moving forward, it's one of the cities that got the lowest average wage of anywhere in the country, and we are going to get ahead of the far right in our communities. We're setting up something called a Unity Shop, where you're going to be able to get food parcels, but you're also going to be able to get help and advice. And we are going to be working very, very, very hard on the streets in our communities, amongst our people, amongst the working class, where I'm afraid the movement should be. If we you can't represent the people in working class communities from the editorial column of The Guardian. You need to roll up your sleeves and get out there and do it. And so that's where we're going to be, and that's where some of the money that you're donating tonight is going to be going to kickstart that process. The far right are not going to get a toehold in the communities of Hull if we have anything to do with it. We will match the poverty and match the aggression head on, and we will deal with it. And I'm proud to be a part of that, and I hope that you can appreciate that message and take it out and maybe start things off like that in your own communities, because going forward we're in the phony war now, the bit between COVID and its financial implications, and we all know it'll disproportionately fall on those least able to deal with it. But with any luck we'll be there, and the reason we'll be there is because if you take on one of us, you take on all of us. When I was young, no more than a kid, I used to rock a forest on the east side, yeah. this big like on the psycho scared. He took my ankles and my knees and my pride. Well, Mommy Johnny pulled me back to my feet. He said you never let him put you down. Next thing I knew, the whistle blew and I be like, well, it out on the ground. And John said, take on one of us, you take on all of us. They pick on you, they pick on me. Come on, I wanna wear ya. You take on one of us, you take on all of us, and that's the way it's gonna be. So time went on and I grew up. At least I learned to bluff the stuff that I like. Yeah, been young and dumb, I pushed my luck, but I knew John had always had my back. Yeah, wasn't somebody when this lad took exception to my face the way the young man do. But John stepped in and without question said, I wouldn't, son, if I were you. And he said, take on one of us, you take on all of us. They pick on you, they pick on me. Yeah, you take on one of us, you take on all of us, and that's the way it's gonna be. And I know you're hating, and the wolves are gathered in a pack. Yeah, and I see the some out there deserting. Did you think I wouldn't have your back? Well, see, I remember when a good friend showed me what it takes to see your troubles through. Through thick and thin, a friend, he never failed me, so there ain't no way I belong to. So let's say, take on one of us, you take on all of us. They pick on you, they pick on me. Yeah, you take on one of us, you take on all of us. They pick on me. Sing it! You take on one of us, you take on all of us. They pick on you, they pick on me. Yeah, you take on one of us, you take on all of us. That's the way it's gonna be. Yeah, you take on one of us, you take on all of us. They pick on you, they pick on me. Yeah, you take on one of us, you take on all of us, and that's the way it's gonna be. Right, I'm going to sing us home with that song. Thank you very much for sticking with us and for supporting all 4 of these events. As I say, I'll be back in 5-6 weeks with Headscarves and Hurricanes, and look out for the Fight the Good Fight Club that We Shall Overcome will be putting together over the next coming days. We'll be announcing that. I'm going to be doing the first one just to introduce it, and I'll be raising money for Help Musicians UK. After that, we've got Jess Silk, spotting Jess Silk t-shirt here. We've got Naomi Bedford and Paul Simmons, and we've got Callum Beard from Edinburgh way. So we've got a cracking first month. It'll be Wednesday night between 9 and 10. Different artists live streaming every week. Essentially for themselves, but it'll be We Shall Overcome, supporting people who've supported We Shall Overcome. So thanks a lot for listening. Massive thank you to Matt and to Pete for their help tonight. Colossal thank you to Kevin Pearson for sending me all these revolutionary jewellery that we've been selling for lockdown solidarity, and that's what's been making these massive totals that we've been able to pass on to people all over the country. So Comrade in Crayons Kevin has done an absolutely brilliant job, totally selfless, and respect and solidarity to him. And love to Pauline for all you've been through over the last 48 hours. Just really, you're an inspiration to so many, and it's really about the lives you're saving, which are countless. So please, 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 you know, dry them up, and keep going. We love you. And to everybody down in Hull, Joe and Andy and Mike and everybody who's involved with setting up the Unity shop, and going forward, we might have had to think on our feet during lockdown, but we've been thinking, and it's great to see these things coming to fruition. They matter, and we will make them work. In the meantime, I don't think I need to teach you the chorus to No Passaran, do I? It's going to be my last tune, so thank you so much, and I will see you again very soon. My name is Jack Atkinson, I'm not afraid, and I live and die by this vow that I made. The only good fascist's a dead one, they say, and around Maria we are. When I first left all them months ago, told him I come not to kill but to cure. But for an ambulance driver my shot's pretty sure, and around Maria we are. There'll be no passaran, no passaran, no passaran today. The fascists have come for our freedom, we ain't gonna give it away. There'll be no passaran here today. I told my mother, now mother be strong, for the left way is right and the right way is wrong. And you can stick that on my grave when I'm gone, for around Maria we are. There'll be no passaran, no passaran, no passaran today. The fascists have come for our freedom, and we ain't gonna give it away. There'll be no passaran here today. The case may be cast, and the cast may be cast, but you armies of darkness, you'd best do your worst. 'Cause to win, yeah, well, you gotta get past those fists, and around Maria we are. There'll be no passaran, no passaran, no passaran today. The fascists have come for our freedom, we ain't gonna give it away. There'll be no passaran here, no passaran, no passaran, no passaran today. No passaran, no passaran, no passaran today. No passaran, no passaran, no passaran today. The fascists have come for our freedom, we ain't gonna give it away. There'll be no passaran here today. Thanks everyone. I'll see you again. Stay well. Solidarity. Good night.